What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, moving on to the Memphis Grizzlies. 0-4. Obviously not what you'd expect. This was a team that won consistently without Ja Morant in the lineup last year, and they brought in pieces to try to rectify that, right, with the Marcus Smart trade, right? A lot of focus is on the offensive end right now, and the offense is rough. 27th in offensive rating. A lot of specific issues. The shot creation with Marcus Smart and Desmond Bane has actually been okay. Desmond Bane is having a really good season so far. Marcus Smart is actually having a really good offensive season as well. If you look at the numbers, they have a 106 offensive rating with both Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart on the floor, which is bad, but like not that bad, right? Especially if you're a great defensive team. And the offense has actually been pretty solid when one of them's on the floor and the other guy is off. But they're playing a lot of minutes with both of them off the floor, which is confusing to me because you'd think they'd stagger them a little bit more considering they're their two best perimeter initiators right now. And the Grizzlies have a 92 offensive rating when both Desmond Bane and Marcus Smart are off the floor. But at the end of the day, like, this team was always going to struggle to score in the half court. That's kind of what their identity is. They just don't have enough offensive skill outside of their initiators to consistently be a great half court offense. What they've always done to bolster their offense is kill people on the offensive glass and kill people in transition. Right? Last year, they were 5th in offensive rebounds per 100 possessions. This year so far, 24th. That's what it's like not having Steven Adams in your lineup anymore, right? And then in transition, they were 2nd in the league last year in transition points per possession. In transition points scored per game, and at 1.14 points per possession. So a really efficient number, and the second most frequent transition team. This year, they're 15th in transition points per game and scoring at a rate of just 1.08 points per possession. So usually their offense is bolstered by all of this transition offense and all of these offensive rebound opportunities to make up for their other limitations in the half court offensively. Because even when Ja Morant was out there last year, they were a bad half court offense. That's not what I'm expecting from this team. I don't think they're going to fix that, right? But they are not getting the easy stuff. Now, the offensive glass, without Steven Adams, that's hard to replicate. However, you can be a good transition team like you were last year. There's a very specific reason why they haven't been as good this year, and it comes down to the defensive end. Again, like, this is a team different from the Dallas Mavericks, who, like, you're just trying to strive for mediocre on defense because that gives you a chance with your elite offense. This team has to go the route of the 2020 Lakers and the 2021 Bucks, which is like, we are an outstanding, ferocious defensive team that forces a lot of turnovers and gets out in transition after defensive rebounds, right? That's what you're expecting from this Memphis Grizzlies team, right? Then in half-court situations, you're hoping for Ja Morant and Desmond Bane to just make enough plays to push you over the top, like LeBron and AD did in 2020, like Giannis and Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday did in 2021, right? Like, that formula works as long as you are an absolute top-tier defense. 2020, Anthony Davis, one of the best defensive playoff runs I've ever seen. Giannis, 2021, one of the best defensive playoff runs that you'll ever see, right? That's what you have to have. You have to have that top-tier defense, and this team has been mediocre on defense. Mediocre in a sense that it's actually kind of flown under the radar, right? Like, all the talk has been around Memphis's offense, but they're 15th in defensive rating. And this is a team that has always defended well when Ja's out of the lineup because they usually are removing a negative defender and putting a positive defender on the floor, right? According to Cleaning the Glass, they're 23rd in half-court defense. And I found this really interesting. So I spent a bunch of time watching the film this morning. Grizzlies fans, go to my Twitter feed at _JasonLT. I clipped like 15 clips to demonstrate this concept that I'm about to go over. But to me, the number one issue I'm noticing on tape is way, way, way too much unnecessary overhelping, specifically at the nail off the ball and then on the back line when they're overreacting with that low man help that bringing that third defender over on ball screens when they really don't need to. And so I want to give some specific examples. So first of all, nail help. You saw a bunch of examples of this in the Dallas Mavericks game, right? So just imagine Luka Doncic or whoever it is that has the ball on the right wing, right? And then you got like Grant Williams or Derek Jones Jr. on the left wing, right? Way too many possessions. Primary culprits I noticed on tape were Desmond Bane and Jake LaRavia, but I don't really think it's their fault. I think this is a schematic thing, right? So it comes down to Taylor Jenkins. Those guys are sitting at the nail in help, allowing really easy swing passes to the perimeter for guys to either knock down threes or just quick rip through, right? Now, again, the way I would do that is I'd stay a couple of steps closer to your shooter, and then you react to drives, right? A lot of these times, we're seeing the ball handler not even looking to be aggressive, standing in a triple threat, fully contained on the ball while the nail help is there. And the swing pass is taking place, and then they're driving it, or they're either knocking down the wide open three, or they're driving it, and now your defense is in rotation, which is the whole point of why you would offer nail help to begin with, to keep your defense from getting into rotation by containing the ball better, right? Whereas if you stay a little bit closer to home, and now let's say Luka rips through to the right, you lunge in to offer that nail help, right? When you see your man in a compromised position. This is a team that has gifted perimeter defenders. They have Marcus Smart. They have Desmond Bane, right? Like they can contain on the perimeter. They just have to trust their ability to contain on the perimeter. There was a specific play with Jake LaRavia where he wasn't even at the nail. He was all the way on the opposite elbow, like right behind the on-ball defender. Basically a soft double team that just gets swung across the floor for an easy closeout opportunity, right? Again, like there's several examples of this that I saw on tape, and you're seeing it in the numbers, by the way. The Memphis Grizzlies are allowing the second most made threes per 100 possessions on the second highest percentage. They're allowing 22 wide open threes per game, which means the defender is at least 6 feet away. That's the fourth most in the entire NBA. Now, the trade-off is they're doing a good job protecting the paint, right? Like they're keeping teams out of the paint. They're allowing just 41 points in the paint per 100 possessions. That's the second best mark in the league. But it's not working for them because they're giving up all these wide open shots on the backside. And again, this is a team that is capable of defending well enough at the point of attack, and they're athletic enough on the back line in rotation to not have to do this. It's not just the nail help. I've seen a lot of over aggressive backside help as well. So now think of it like this. There's a two-man action taking place on the right side of the floor. You've got your low man who's guarding the guy in the opposite corner. He's basically leaving that guy to defend that action 3-on-2. And then whoever it is that's guarding the man on the right wing is now having to guard two guys on the opposite end of the floor. And usually that player's dropping to the baseline and that opposite wing is wide open. There was a play, it wasn't even a ball screen. Seth Curry has the ball on the right wing against John Conchar. I have this play on my Twitter feed. You guys can find it. He rips through to the baseline, kind of gets a step on Conchar, but Conchar recovers and Seth Curry takes a retreat dribble. So Seth Curry has taken a retreat dribble and is contained by John Conchar. So worst thing that can happen there is Seth Curry takes a contested baseline pull-up jump shot, right? No, because David Roddy, who's guarding the weak side corner guy, just runs underneath the basket, offering help. So Seth takes one more advanced dribble and throws a kick-out pass to the opposite wing for a wide-open three. And like, again, ask yourself, what would you rather give up? A contested pull-up jump shot from Seth Curry or a wide-open three on the backside? This is a consistent issue. There was another play in the bench group where Jaren Jackson was helping at the basket, because this is the third issue. Jaren Jackson, as good of a shot blocker as he is, he's too aggressive in that regard. And he often offers shot blocking help when it's not needed, and it throws everything out of whack on the backside in terms of their rebounding, right? There was a play where Dante Exum is driving down the right lane, and I believe Jake LaRavia is guarding him. Doing his job, slides his feet, taking contact in the chest, forces Dante Exum into this wild, hook shot over the top that has no chance of going in. And spoiler alert, he missed it off the side of the rim. But Jaren Jackson, for no apparent reason at all, even though he had no chance to block the shot, just jumps out of his shoes to go try to block it. And so his man taps the offensive rebound out. It goes right to, I think, Seth Curry on the left wing, who knocks down a three. And so, again, they're doing damage to themselves defensively. They're making it more difficult than it needs to be. This is, again, not a Dallas Mavericks team that needs to require on defensive aggression to make up for the fact that they're not capable of being a great defensive team. This team is capable of being a great defensive team. They can defend ball screens 2-on-2. They can contain at the point of attack and force guys to take contested shots over the top without constantly existing in rotation and giving up all of these wide open threes. And again, what do we talk about on the offensive end of the floor? This is a team that needs to generate easy opportunities in transition. The only way to do that is to get stops and defensive rebounds and run, or force turnovers and run. What's the best way to force turnovers in the NBA? Guard actions 2-on-2 and 1-on-1. Why? Because then you're home off the ball. You're playing in the passing lane rather than on the ball. And so let's say that Dante Exum drives and misses that right-handed hook. And so the next time he drives, Jaren Jackson doesn't help. Everyone stays home. LaRavia's chesting him up. And now Dante Exum realizes he's in trouble, and he looks around and he just throws a pass to one of the shooters. Except for now you've got someone in the passing lane who catches the ball, and now they're running the other way for a dunk in transition. So, not only would this be the weapon to improve their defense, it would also be the thing that would unlock their transition attack and get them back to where they were. Last year, the Memphis Grizzlies were second in transition frequency. This year, they're 15th. It's a problem. And so, again, it's easy to just say, oh, we're 0-4, we need Ja Morant. And don't get me wrong, Ja Morant, you need him to ever have some sort of championship ceiling, right? But this team is just also schematically setting themselves up to fail with what they're doing on the defensive end of the floor. And again, you can tell when if you go look at these clips on my Twitter feed, in most of these possessions, the on-ball defender is doing good work. Force those guys to either take tough shots or turn the ball over by passing to your defenders who are staying home, run in transition. That will help your half-court offense just enough to give you a chance to win games. This is a team that should be a top 5 defense and then hope to be in that 15 to 20 range on the offensive end of the floor. That is their pathway to victory as of right now. Then when Ja Morant comes back, that's when you can go over the top with what you can be capable of on the offensive end of the floor. And again, I like it in the big picture because Marcus Smart is a much better offensive player than Dillon Brooks. And you can imagine a scenario where the Grizzlies' half-court offense could operate at a much higher level with 3 high-level offensive players on the floor as opposed to just 2 in the bigger picture.